Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by Ray Ora.
It's Friday, baby.
By Jonathan Voico.
Hello, everybody.
And, of course, most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day on this Friday. And here's how our show's going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a few topics we got lined up for you guys. Then in the second part of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, or topic that you'd like us to address, as long as we deem it appropriate to be addressed on our show, go ahead and fire it on into our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. And here's the good news. Even if the show's not live, you can use this tip link anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Maybe you're listening to our show a little bit later in the day on one of our podcast feeds, either on Spotify or Apple Podcast. Maybe you're watching this show on YouTube a little bit later in the day, and you have a question, you can still send one in. And if you send it in when we're not live, we'll just get around to answering it on the next episode. All right, now some of you guys who are watching live might notice we started the show a little bit late today. I had a dental cleaning, my 3-4 times a year thing this morning. Wasn't going to be able to start the show on time, so that's why we're starting just a little bit late today. Anyway, guys, with that down, let's jump into our first issue here, shall we? And that is this. For any of you guys who know me, you know I'm a Dungeons and Dragons guy. Mm-hmm. I started playing Dungeons and Dragons back when it was like 40 pages, little paperback covers and stuff like that. Back when I was in grade school, I was playing Dungeons and Dragons. And as an adult, played Dungeons and Dragons. And of course, they put out a live action Dungeons and Dragons not long ago with Chris Pine. Mm-hmm. Honor Among Thieves, I think it was called. Yep. That movie was wonderful. Yep. That was a really good little movie, and ain't nobody went to go see it.
Yeah, because everyone thought they had to know Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, everybody thought, oh, well, I don't play Dungeons and Dragons, so I guess I won't get the movie. So they should have done a better job marketing that, because the movie actually ended up being really delightful. It was a really fun little movie, but it didn't look like it might get a sequel. But now, it's not a sequel, but Netflix has taken up the call, because according to Deadline, Netflix is now developing a live-action Dungeons & Dragons series with Deadpool and Wolverine director and Stranger Things director and producer Sean Levy being involved. This comes to us from Deadline, who wrote the following. Exclusive. In one of Netflix's biggest TV bets in the fantasy space to date, the streamer has taken in for development The Forgotten Realms, a live-action Dungeons & Dragons series, sources tell Deadline. The project comes from one of the top producers on the streamer's roster, Sean Levy from Stranger Things, Deadpool and Wolverine, and with writer-showrunner Drew Crivello from We Crashed and Hasbro Entertainment. As the title suggests, the proposed series will take place in the iconic campaign setting and centerpiece of the Dungeons & Dragons universe, a fantasy world released in 1987 that has become home to some of the brand's most famous characters and launch pad for some of D&D's most popular adventures. The source material for the 2023 movie Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, which I really enjoyed, comes from within the Realms setting. All right. I gotta say, I am absolutely giddy to hear this, because, after Honor Among Thieves kind of crashed and burned at the box office, that movie deserves so much better. I was kind of worried that maybe studios will look at that and go, I guess people really aren't into the whole D&D fantasy sort of thing. And I thought that's not true. And you know what else kind of pointed towards that? Mm-hmm. Vax Machina.
Right. Yeah.
On Amazon has done really well for them. As a matter of fact, another piece of news that we're not covering today is Vax Machina just got picked up for season 4.
Oh, wow.
So they're going to be, which
ahead.
I'm super happy about. I really enjoy that show. Mm-hmm. And so, with Baldur's Gate 3 having just won a little bit ago, the game of the year, I still think the greatest video game ever made. I'm still absolutely floored by that game.
I still can't even get it on like a deal. Like, it's so popular, they're not even cutting the price.
Yeah, it's not on sale.
No.
Nope. You know what? Part of the brilliance of Baldur's Gate 3? You buy the game and that's it.
Oh, I kind of like to be milked of money, though.
Oh, yeah. Everybody likes being milked.
It makes you feel loved.
Yeah. Like, none of this freaking seasons pass. none of this pay to win, none of this buy these skins, none of these pay for DLC. It's that you buy the game, you got the game.
I'm just imagining what Sean Levy will do with this Dungeons and Dragons series. As far as the Dragon's concerned, and looking at what he did with Stranger Things, he could really make this a really interesting show. I think a lot of people know what Dungeons and Dragons is, and I think they're just waiting for something to hit big. And this might be it. This might be the thing that actually gets people's eyes on the property, because all of us in here know what Dungeons and Dragons is. It's beloved by the people who play it.
Yeah, but there's a difference between knowing what something is.
Right.
Like, just no, let me rephrase that. There's a difference between knowing of something and knowing what it is.
Right.
And I think you're right in that the vast majority of people out there know of Dungeons and Dragons, but they don't know what it is.
But there's a belief with the studios, or like, because they keep trying, right? So it's like
not often though.
Yeah, but hopefully this one, I'm just saying, hopefully this one will strike the fire that they've been wanting from.
Well, listen, Netflix is infamously awful at their movies. Like, Netflix is total garbage at making movies. Like, maybe 1 out of every 20 is okay. But their track record with their series,
that's what I'm saying.
I mean, it's not perfect, but their track record with their series are actually not quite as good as, HBO, but quite good. And you're right, with Sean Levy on board, it shows that they actually have a belief in this genre. Hopefully the popularity, the after theater popularity of Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves can pick up here a little bit. And hopefully this can turn into something, because I love this world. It's just a big, open, empty canvas that a good creator can come in and tell any kind of story they want if they do it well.
Now, do you think this needs a big budget? Because that would be, for me, that's kind of important, because dragons, come on, we got to have some cool looking dragons, but who knows?
Well, I mean, I don't know how many dragons we'll see in it, but I mean, that, again, it depends on the kind of story they want to tell. If you just want to tell a great story about, like,
the group,
an old warrior who's now trying to just save his community, you could probably do that for a pretty reasonable budget and make it good and make it compelling and make it fun. If you want to do a story, though, of a grand epic adventure of a big party of adventurers going off to fight.
Did we just get hit? Because we had great connection.
Let's see here.
We'll keep looking at this.
Everybody's saying it's frozen.
Yeah, I think we're back now. Yeah, we're back now, because I can see I'm streaming it on my phone unless it's buffered.
You might have to catch up.
Yeah, I'm live. Yeah, they're saying it's back.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's odd.
a bummer.
Yeah, I think it was just out for like a little bit, but we're back.
How much did you guys miss?
Yeah, where do you want us to pick up?
Well, edit this out of the segment.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, I think this could be. I mean, every time a new Dungeons and Dragons thing comes out, I remember I thought this back when the Jeremy Irons Abomination came out. I thought, okay, this could be the thing that really makes like a D&D thing super big. Didn't happen. Then we had Honor Among Thieves coming out. I thought, okay, this could be the thing that really makes it blah, 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 and it didn't quite happen. So hopefully this will be the thing.
There's one important name behind the article that we got this from. Hasbro is behind this. Their track record is okay, right?
They're gonna have nothing to do with this creatively, though.
Okay,
like from a creative point, I mean, it's their property, because Hasbro owns Wizards of the Coast, and Dungeons and Dragons is a property of Wizards of the Coast. So yeah, Hasbro's behind it, the business deal, but they won't be involved in it creatively at all. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Do you like the idea of them not just doing a Dungeons and Dragons series, but it looks like they're going hardcore, bringing in one of their top producers to do it as well? What direction do you think they'll go in? Do you think this can become popular? I certainly hope it does. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? in a little segment that we're going to file under the rumor mill. You know, every once in a while, we'll talk about a show. We'll talk about a story that's out there that is pure, unsubstantiated rumor.
I love
and we make
rumors.
sure you guys know we are talking about a rumor, but it at least creates some intriguing points of conversation. And in today's rumor mill, we got this story coming to us from comicbookmovie.com. Jenna Ortega is reportedly being considered for a major role in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh, then it's confirmed.
Oh, I might as well run with it,
Yeah.
right? Again, we are going to file this one firmly under the category of rumor mill. All right. There is always two questions whenever one of these rumor stories come out. Number one, is it believable? And number two, assuming it's true for a moment, just for the sake of conversation, would we like this thing if it were true? So let's start with the first part of this rumor mill. Is it believable? I will say it's 100% believable. And the reason I think it's 100% believable is because of this. Marvel talks to everybody. Marvel talks to everybody. There is something wrong with you. I mean, hell, I've been talked to by Marvel. John, would you consider being in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Sure. Do you want me? No. We just wanted to see if you were interested. So
It's like a male.
that
thing.
also reflects a lot of my dating life in my 20s. So but seriously, Marvel will have discussions with everybody. Every agency and every agent will call Marvel and say, would you guys consider one of my 15 clients?
Sure.
And they'll sit down and have conversations, not necessarily with Kevin Feige, but they'll sit down and have conversations and think, you know, if something were to ever happen, where would we fit and blah, blah, blah. So is it conceivable that at some point along the road, you know, Jenna Ortega's agent got a hold of somebody at Marvel, or somebody at Marvel got a hold of Jenna Ortega's agent and said, hey, we just like to have a lunch, sit down and
100%.
talk about things.
And let's not forget, she's been in the Marvel Cinematic Universe already. She was in Iron Man 3, the vice president's daughter.
Was she really?
Yeah.
Are you being serious?
No, I'm being serious.
I have absolutely
Look.
no recollection of that.
Yeah, she's in Iron Man 3. She's
I'm
the
gonna
vice
look up.
president's daughter.
I had no, I've
up.
never even
Look it up,
on the
y'all.
side- no, I believe you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I've never even heard
She
that.
was probably way too
I mean,
young.
here's the shot. You wouldn't even recognize her.
That
Yeah.
was
So-
Jenna Ortega.
Yeah, so she's there. She's in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. She's just going to expand that role of being the most powerful vice president's
Daughter ever.
She's just grown up. It has nothing to do with Marvel. They just follow her.
I've never even in like the slightest conversation ever, like even in some little trivia thing. Did
I
you
know.
know Jenna Ortega? I had no idea.
Yeah.
Ray pulled that one out of his back pocket, man. He's been sitting on that fact.
He's been sitting on that for
Yeah.
3 years. Someday.
Someday this is going to work out for me.
This little factoid is going to come in handy.
I got you, Jenna. Inland Empire, baby.
Is she from the IE?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
come
from
on.
Inland Empire. She's like from a Coachella Valley or something
Yeah.
like that.
Oh, okay. Just for those you know, we are in the IE.
She's a hometown scream queen.
Well, okay. First of all, I think being as she was that young,
I know.
I think they're safe to bring her back as somebody else and not worry about it.
I don't even think she talked.
I mean, honestly, I wouldn't even, if you show, like, I looked at that picture, I wouldn't have even known that was Jenna Ortega. It's just some little girl.
Yeah. So, okay. Wow. I'm still kind of stunned by this. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Look.
So, okay, look. So,
We're gonna have to go
getting
up
back to the is it believable?
Yeah.
It's believable because I believe they've talked to most people in town. Do I think they're actually talking to her seriously about a big upcoming role? I doubt it.
X-Men.
They don't even have a writer yet. Like, forget the fact that, listen, anybody who's telling you they're casting X-Men right now, immediately stop listening to them. Forget not having a script. They haven't even hired a writer. They haven't even said they're doing a movie yet.
I know there's a few
They're not
writers
casting
available.
a movie that they haven't even talked to directors or talked to writers or anything like that.
This is
So
the first
no,
time they're
it's
going to
not fresh.
base the movie off of who they cast.
Yeah.
They, no,
Cast
Right.
based.
they definitely won't do. Anyway, I'm just saying.
Do you have any guesses? Do you have anything that?
Well, okay.
Disney-
First of all, so I don't think the rumor's believable. I mean, it's believable that they've talked to her. Do I think it's serious? Probably not. But now, if it were,
Yes, if it were. Disney Plus series, MCU movie.
I don't think you Disney Plus Jenna Ortega.
Yeah, but, you know.
I mean, you can say like she's a big star on a Netflix series with Wednesday. Yeah, but I think if Marvel were to work out something with a Jenna Ortega, I see her more as a feature person.
Yeah.
But who and where? Like, assuming they're not even within years of having an X-Men movie. Like, we're years away from getting an X-Men movie. So if it's not X-Men, where could you fit somebody like her in? I mean, listen, you don't need to have an X-Men movie to start introducing some X-Men characters, right?
Right.
So maybe a Shadow Cat. Maybe.
Is she too old to be a young Avenger?
Well, I mean,
If
there's
even-
never going to be any young Avengers.
I know. I'm
But
just
you know
pulling
what?
it.
I could see her as a Kitty Pryde. I could see her as a Kitty Pryde.
I can
And
too.
again, you don't have to have an X-Men movie ready to go. They can start introducing characters from the X-Men universe in other movies first. She would work out pretty. Yeah, I'd be down for her as a Kitty Pryde.
I mean, she's got a full schedule. I mean, she has that Death of a Unicorn movie coming out, and then what's it called?
That looks so good, by the way.
A Waititi film. She's gonna be the lead of a Clara and something.
Yeah, and she's got
Alba.
season 2 of
Right.
Wednesday coming, and like she's keeping herself really busy.
So you don't believe this rumor?
I don't believe it. I don't think we're going to see Jenna Ortega in the MCU, but I would be. Listen, I think she's a really good actress.
No, I do.
I
too.
don't think she's Oscar level or anything, but I think she's a solid actress with great on-screen charisma. And if they were to announce tomorrow that Jenna Ortega is going to be one of the stars of the upcoming Spider-Man 4 movie, for example, I'd be like, that's a win. I'd see. Yeah. So do I believe it? No. But if it does turn out to be true, I'm all for it. I'm absolutely all for it. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? There's a rumor going around in the room, completely unsubstantiated, that they're talking to Jenna Ortega. I believe they're talking to her, but in the same way that they're talking to literally 100 other people right now. Do I actually believe there's anything seriously happening? No. But if it did, I'd be down for it. How do you feel about that? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we still got to talk about a couple things, including the first epic, amazing, jaw-dropping pictures from the set of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, with Prince Adam in his button-up pink shirt being arrested. We're going to talk about that, and I'm going to give you guys my review of Captain America, Brave New World. Spoiler alert, it's not so good. But that and a few things more. But before we do, we're going to take a second and thank one of the sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at NordVPN. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's episode, NordVPN. All right, let's be real. There's nothing worse than wanting to stream your favorite show or watch a live game only to find out it's blocked in your country. But guess what? With NordVPN, that is never a problem. With just one click, you can switch your virtual location and access content from anywhere in the world. I have loved using NordVPN. Whether I'm traveling and using public Wi-Fi or just shopping online, NordVPN keeps my personal info safe and private. By switching my location, I can even save money on flights, hotels, and subscriptions. It's like a cheat code for getting the best deals. NordVPN is the fastest VPN in the world, so there's no buffering when I'm streaming. Plus, their threat protection feature blocks malware, trackers, and phishing attempts, keeping my devices safe 24/7. And with just one account, I can protect up to 10 devices, so my whole setup is covered. So to get the best discount on your NordVPN plan, head to nordvpn.com/John Campea, and our link will even give you 4 extra months for free on the 2-year plan. Plus, there's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Links in the description. Check it out now. And thank you to our friends at NordVPN for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, a movie that really should have come out about 7 years ago, but is coming, and I have to admit, I'm growing in my enthusiasm for it, is the new Masters of the Universe film. The cast is all set. They are now filming the movie, but what are we going to get? Are we going to get kind of a more silly slapsticky kind of thing? Are we going to get a Game of Thrones in space? Are we going to get, I mean, what are we going to get? We still don't really know, but we at least now got some first set photos from it.
Ooh.
And they don't scream Game of Thrones in space, which is okay. These are just set pictures. We can't really glean a lot. But comicbook.com is pointing out the Masters of the Universe set photos reveal Nicholas Galitzine. I still don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but whatever. As Prince Adam. So we got our first shots. Okay, you ready, guys?
Let's do this.
Here we
Let's
go.
go.
Are we gonna see him on the battlefields of Eternia?
This is gonna be so.
Are we
awesome.
gonna see him in the hallowed halls of Grayskull?
Oh man, you get me hyped. It's game day.
Here we go.
Oh,
Prince Adam on
Chonky.
Earth, looking like he's getting arrested in a mall.
this is from the OC. This is an old clip from the OC.
Yeah. There's more photos.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, look at that big boy.
Big boy.
he got buffed up, I think.
Take a look at that though.
All right. Well, there is the sword.
Getting a little look at the sword.
What?
Yeah, getting a shot of the sword there.
Dang.
And that's okay.
me.
That looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that looks pretty good. All right, so there he is, getting arrested. Hey, and listen, one of my concerns about Nicholas G, the G man,
Yeah.
G Spot. Call him
Like-
G-Spot. The thing about G Spot was kind of my
That's not.
criticism.
That's not a thing.
From now
dude.
on, he's G Spot.
No, Nick G Spot. Come on, he hasn't earned that, or has he? He might have. Never mind. Okay,
Was the fact that he was clearly in shape in that one movie he did with why am I freezing on the actress?
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway movie. Thank you. He was in good shape in that movie, but kind of small. He's clearly bulked up a lot. Still not He-Man size, but that's fine. That's fine. So
Loving the
he's
locks.
clearly looking bigger.
Loving the hair.
The hair's
See, here
good.
he looks really. You can tell he's got.
I have a problem with these pictures. Why is that lady just carrying around the sword like it's not
Well, she's a cop.
a billion pounds?
Well,
not.
maybe that's the magic of the Sword of Eternia. Maybe it feels like it's really light.
He's probably really strong.
Yeah, she's a cop, man. So there he is with that look on his face, is like, wait till your father gets home kind of look on his face.
Mm-hmm.
And
Fast Time at Ridgemont High.
more arrests, and then, oh no, I'm being put into a police car.
Not He-Man. Or
All right.
Prince Adam.
Look, let's take a breath and be objective here. This is just a couple of photos out of context of one shot in the movie. All right. So do I think these pictures look ridiculous? Yes. Should you start painting your entire philosophy about what this movie is going to be like based on a couple of still pictures from completely out of context one scene? No, absolutely not. Because listen, I'll tell you what, if going into Endgame, the first thing we saw was a completely out of context picture of like Chris Hemsworth dressed as the Big Lebowski, and you started to build your whole philosophy of what you thought Endgame was going to be just based on that one picture,
Right. And
well,
they're just
would have been foolish, right?
Yeah. And these weren't even shot from the movie. This is someone on set. They could have been rehearsing, like they could have been blocking it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it could be that this isn't even what's going to be on film. It could be that these shots are literally just from them walking through in rehearsal. I mean, they are all in costume. So I'm not going to take that away. So whatever. Now I know there's going to be some people bummed out that the very first shot we get is of them on Earth. I know there are a lot of people hoping that the majority of this movie would take place on Eternia, and maybe it does. That's what I'm saying. This is one set of pictures out of context from one shot being done.
Right.
That's it, right? It could be that 5% of this movie takes place on Earth and 95% on Eternia. Maybe it's more balanced, whatever. I'm sure these aren't the pictures the studio wanted the public's first exposure to this movie is. But hey, at least we can see the dude really bulked up.
He did.
I am so hyped for this movie, but now it's for all the wrong reasons. I think like
Why are you hyped for it?
I just look at it and I'm like, okay, it was either gonna be like Game of Thrones, like serious, or they're gonna go cheeseball. Just from the looks of it, it's gonna be the cheesiest He-Man, but I'm all for it. This might be just the most terrible thing, but I've been waiting for another He-Man movie for a long time. So I'm all hyped for this. But now it's become, I don't know, I cannot wait to see the next set photos of whoever. Skeletor, Idris Elba.
I'm really curious to see.
Well, they got shots of Skeletor at a Starbucks. So
They
that'll
did.
be next.
That'll be next. That's getting in an argument because you know why? The barista misspelt Skeletor's name.
Barista!
It says Skellen. I'm not Skellen.
He drinks it, goes right through him.
Curse you, He-Man.
I said soy milk.
Soy milk.
No, but I am so hyped for this. It looks terrible. I mean,
This looks terrible.
I mean, just because terrible, as in like, it reminds me if they're gonna do like a Princess Diaries,
Jeez.
like Prince Adam, like I don't
Prince
know,
Adam Diaries.
but I'm all for it. I don't care what they show
Listen,
anymore.
again, remember, we got to keep in mind this is one set picture
Yeah,
from completely out of context. Again, listen, this movie's got Idris Elba.
Yeah.
This movie's got Morena Baccarin.
Yeah.
This movie's got Academy Award winner Jared Leto.
And who else, Jonathan?
Oh, we got
Allison Brie,
Oh, yeah, it's got Alison Brie.
We got Allison Brie. Oh, I can't what was
Monica,
her name?
Riverdale
Riverdale.
girl.
And
Baccarin.
then
What's her
Allison
name?
Brie is,
The
Sorcerer.
Deadpool star.
Morena Baccarin.
Yeah.
That's
Morena.
what, yep. Allison
stacked
Brie is
cast.
evil. I'm. By the way, I still love the Allison Brie is evil Lynn.
And let's not
I
forget,
still love that.
Travis Knight as the director.
And that's the most important thing. I'm glad you reminded me of that. The most important thing is who is the director? The director is Travis Knight. And I've only seen a couple of things that Travis Knight has done, and I've loved both of them. Travis Knight is directing this. I'm going to go. You know what? I don't care. I don't care. The next set picture can come out of Prince Adam in Gitch licking a cat's face, and I'll still not care. I'll still believe that Travis Knight is going to deliver something because it's Travis Knight.
Yeah, show me Battle Cat, Travis. Come on.
Yeah, let's see. What
Let's
if there is
see
no
it.
Battle Cat?
Yeah,
Are you be mad if there's no Battle Cat?
I would be absolutely. I would. No, there has to be a Battle Cat.
Yeah, I
there
think
has to be. There's no way. That's like one of the most exciting things I can't wait to see. It's exactly like the Voltron series. I can't wait to see the robot.
The lions?
Lions, yeah.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think of these first pictures? I'm sure this is not what the studio wanted our first impressions of the movie to be, but there they are. What do you think about the first pictures? Do I think they're good? No. But do I think we should paint our expectations of what the movie is going to be as a whole as a result of a couple of out of context set pictures? Absolutely not. But whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Last night, yesterday afternoon, I should say, I finally got around to going to see Captain America, Brave New World. Now, have I been super excited for this? No, but I've been interested in it and I've been looking forward to it. Not to the same level that I am for Thunderbolts or Daredevil or Fantastic Four, but Anthony Mackie is an awards caliber level actor. I've really liked the Sam Wilson character in the MCU. I'm not a big fan of anybody taking up. I've been very public. I don't think Bucky or Sam should have taken up Cap's shield. Steve Rogers is Cap, and if he's not there, then Cap's not there. Period. They decided to give it to one of them, and they gave it to Sam, and so that's as good as anybody they had. So how would the movie end up being? Now, of course, the first reactions were, it's okay. The critic scores then came out, and it was the definition of split. I mean, it was right around the 50% mark. What is it at right now?
It's at 51%.
51%. So it's basically the definition of split. Half the critics like it, half of them didn't. But okay. And I said, during the reaction watch and all kind of stuff. I said, look, I don't need this. I don't need every Marvel movie to be Endgame. I don't need every Marvel movie to be Civil War. You know, just give me a good time. So I went into the movie yesterday and it failed to deliver a good time. Is this the worst Marvel Cinematic Universe movie? No, it's not. Is it in the bottom 3? No, I don't think it's in the bottom 3. Is it in the bottom 5? Might be in the bottom 5. Like, I still think it's better than Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I still think it's better than Thor: Dark World. I still think it's better than Iron Man 2, and maybe one or two others. But I did not walk out of this movie thinking it was a big pile of garbage. I don't think this movie is a big pile of garbage. But I also walked out thinking, and this is what I said in my out of the theater reaction. It's not just that Captain America: Brave New World isn't a good Marvel movie. It's just not a good movie. When you just look again at the basic fundamentals, forget the genre of making a good movie and telling a good story. I just feel like Captain America: Brave New World fell on its face. The opening scene of the movie, as a lot of Marvel films will do, starts with an action sequence, right? As we see Sam and the new kid they call Falcon in Mexico trying to recover a package. And Cap gets into a bunch of hand-to-hand combat, and I haven't seen hand-to-hand combat look that bad and that clunky since the Book of Boba Fett.
Like, he didn't look bad in it, but the people he was fighting,
they
were just like weird, like overreacting, like, oh,
the hand-to-hand fighting was like, like, it just looked, it didn't look smooth. It didn't look,
it didn't ruin
exciting.
The movie for me, but
didn't ruin it for. As a matter of fact, there are other elements. Let me talk about some of the things that I really liked about Captain America: Brave New World. The fight with Hulk, I thought was very good. I thought the fight with Hulk was very good. I really enjoyed watching the fight. It was well choreographed. The action was intense in it. It's like some big haymakers being landed and all that kind of stuff. Some of it, I'll talk more about it in the open spoiler discussion we're going to have on Sunday. By the way, guys, just in case you did not know, this Sunday, Captain America: Brave New World open spoiler discussion you guys had yesterday, today, and tomorrow to go see the movie. Then come on in on Sunday. We'll talk about Captain America: Brave New World and all its open spoilery goodness. But, you know, I did think the fight with Hulk was wonderful. Another sequence that I thought was really good, the fight over the Indian Ocean that we see a ton of in the trailers. That whole sequence, visually very good. Like, top 1 or 2 best Marvel action sequences ever? No, but it was really engaging and it was exciting, and the aerial shots looked really good, and they built it into the drama. The action on screen was directly connected to the drama going on in the movie, and that is a winning combination, and that worked great. Harrison Ford as Thunderbolt Ross, very good.
I thought so too.
Very good. Yeah, I'm not going to say it's one of his best performances, but very good, very solid. Anthony Mackie as Sam, always good. And I really like go all the way back to the first Ant-Man movie when he was the one Avenger cameo in it, right?
Right.
I've always liked him as Sam. He does a great job portraying Sam. The leader, kind of one note.
I felt so too.
Kind
Little
of
mustache twirling.
Kind of one note, kind of mustache twirling. Never made me feel his rage, his angst, why he felt so slighted. It was just kind of presented. Anyway, so there was that. Performances, couple of really good ones, couple of okay ones, whatever. Did not get into the Black Widow character. Just never did a good job winning me over.
I felt it was oddly cast for that role.
A little oddly cast, but again, I just found the character itself wasn't written all that interestingly, right? But therein lies my main issue with Captain America Strange. I keep wanting to say Strange New World. Captain America Brave New World. Horribly written. Horribly written movie. The dialogue, even for an MCU comic book movie, it was terrible dialogue. Like even Harrison Ford's dialogue, which he did everything in his power to make believable. I'm just listening to this like, that's not how people talk. Even in comic book movies, that's not how people talk. And everything was so exposition heavy. I felt like, especially in the first act of the film, like, I get it. You need exposition in a movie, right? The show don't tell doesn't always work. But it felt like they didn't know how to do show don't tell. It felt like everything had to be explicitly explained in a piece of dialogue, or the audience doesn't get what's going on. Mm-hmm. And then they did create these scenarios, and it's like, why? No, like, Sam wouldn't do that. A president would. By the way, side note, how fast is the MCU going through presidents? like, even if you go into like Secret Invasion stuff, like they're going through presidents pretty good. Anyway, that's a side note. So you went from a villain that you never really even felt the presence of the villain much in the movie until he was on screen, and then when he was on screen, it was like, by the way, for as smart as the leader is supposed to be, by the end of the movie, you're thinking, that was the grand plan? And that's how easily it got derailed? How smart is this guy? Because he doesn't come across in the movies being very smart. And that always hurts. And here's the thing. The movie to me is a great representation of the current state of mediocrity that the MCU is in. It's not, see, Sony's stuff, when you're talking Madam Web, Morbius, Craven, that's a state of horribleness. Mm-hmm. The MCU's not in a state of horribleness. They're not. But they're in this state of mediocrity right now, which is a far cry from what they have been for so long. And again, I say that fully cognizant of the fact that they've had some big wins in the last couple of years. Again, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, huge win. Deadpool and Wolverine, huge win. WandaVision, huge win. They've had a couple, Shang-Chi, I think the best film they've done since Endgame. So they've had a couple of really big wins. But unlike the first 25 films they did, I feel like for every really good thing, you got a okay to bad thing. And that's not what they used to do. Mm-hmm. And this movie was just it. It was poor writing, poor execution. I'll say it, bad direction. This is a badly directed movie. All just kind of highlighted with the mentality of, don't worry about it. Just get to the action scenes and then the audience will be fine. And that's not what MCU movies at their peak are. Was this movie terrible? No, it wasn't a terrible movie overall. I didn't walk out hating myself for spending my time there watching it like I did with Craven.
Right.
I didn't, but I also didn't feel like that was worth my time. I didn't walk out of that movie thinking, wow, I'm really glad I watched that. And it also kind of highlights this thing too. Sam is not the face of the MCU. And that's a larger problem that the MCU has had with the departure of Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans, the two guys who were the face, heart, and soul of the MCU. Now, the plan was, apparently, that Chadwick Boseman was going to kind of take on that mantle.
That's what it would have, exactly.
Right? Like, not he wouldn't be the whole MCU.
Yeah.
But he was going to kind of he was being positioned to kind of be, not Chadwick Boseman, T'Challa.
T'Challa, yeah.
T'Challa was being positioned to kind of be that next face of the MCU. Mm-hmm. And obviously with the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman and their incorrect decision to kill off T'Challa, it's left them scrambling as to who kind of represents the identity of the MCU. It ain't Hawkeye. It ain't Loki. It ain't Sam. Maybe it could be Chris Hemsworth if they course correct coming out of Love and Thunder. Maybe it could be Chris Hemsworth. Maybe. But so the whole idea, the selling thing of Sam now not just making a good movie, but Sam being kind of the main figure of the Avengers, the main figure of the MCU. It ain't him. I don't know who on the MCU roster it could be other than maybe Chris Hemsworth. I don't think it can be Doctor Strange. I don't think it can be Hawkeye. I don't think it could be, I don't know. But that's a problem that they have. It's not a problem that this movie caused. Don't get me wrong. It's not like Captain America Brave New World caused this problem. This is a problem that the MCU is facing. But this ain't the answer. This character isn't the answer to be that.
Well,
a very strong presence in it, yes, but the leader of it, the linchpin, the face of it, no, it's not.
No. And I think we're good. I think we're looking forward to some really good storytelling, I'm hoping, in Thunderbolts. But there again, they are promoted as the B team. They're promoted as the not Avengers. Avengers not available. So you're still not going to get that answer there. And it's not Bucky. So
no, and the answer is also not Bucky. By the way, only one of our live chatter, Only Morale, says, "Don't do that, John. When the movie ended, Sam was a great Captain America." No, he wasn't. You know what he was? He was a great Sam Wilson. Sam Wilson has always been a great character in the MCU. Has always had a place in the MCU. Will continue to. I get excited seeing Sam Wilson on screen. But all this movie did was establish Sam Wilson's a great character, but he's not Captain America. Bucky would not have been Captain America. Bucky's a great character too. I love Bucky. Can't wait to see him in Thunderbolts. I'm excited to see Bucky on screen again. But he wouldn't have been a good Captain America because there is only one Captain America in the MCU. I know there's everybody out there. Oh, John, he's comic books. Comic books are the comic books. The movies are the movies.
I came out of the movie completely opposite me. I actually had a good time with the movie. It's not the best, but I thought it was I was smiling after the movie. I mean, there was. It's not terrible, like you said. It's not terrible, but I actually had a good time and I enjoyed it. It's not the. Some of the dialogue was awful.
Oh, terrible dialogue.
I do like the Falcon kid. He was pretty good to me. Like he made me laugh a few times. And as far as the Sam Wilson thing, that character, whether he's Captain America, Sam Wilson, whatever, I can see this character leading the Avengers. That's, I think, where me and you differ. Like, yeah. I actually could see the
I don't see the sidekick that everybody outranks being now the leader of the Avengers. I just don't see it.
Maybe not being the face of the actual in the lunchbox, but in the movie terms, like I can see him leading the Avengers or directing them to do this or do that.
I can see him. I'm sort of in the middle of E2. Well, now I am actually in the middle
because you saw it as well last night.
Yeah, and I actually enjoyed it. And the whole time I'm like, okay, this is nowhere near the bottom three. Now, I actually liked the first act leading up to the White House. I felt like the pacing of it was good, and it was getting a good political thriller.
The pacing of the first act wasn't bad.
A very good political thriller pacing to it, where I was feeling rising tension. But I agree, it was like everything had to be explained. Just so you guys know where we're going, this is where we're going, this is what we're doing. Like, yeah, that got a little silly.
Yeah.
And whatever, but honestly, even some of the best MCU films have exposition where I'm like, okay, whatever. I do feel like he is in a position to be an Avenger and assemble the Avengers. But I agree with John that I don't think he leads the Avengers, but I think he's great at assembling the Avengers if that's what's going to happen.
By the way, you know what? I forgot one of the other positives about the movie. You know what the MVP of the movie was for me? Isaiah.
Oh,
yeah.
Awesome.
Seriously, I thought he was the MVP of the movie.
That man is huge.
Even though he didn't have a lot of screen time in it. I like the Isaiah character in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
I got really connected to him in this movie, even though he doesn't have a large role to play in it and stuff like that.
Great.
I hope they keep Isaiah around in the MCU. I really do, because I like that character a lot. Mm-hmm. There's something about the way he carries himself and the way he talks and just his warmth and his pain at the same time.
Yeah.
I just, every time he was on screen, I just kind of lit up a little bit.
And I think in terms of this room, I totally agree with that Rotten Tomato score. I could see it going either way.
51?
For just half and half.
Yeah,
There's gonna be some people that liked it.
Because I'll tell you, I am part of the one over, or like the half that like it. So in a world of thumbs down or thumbs up, I am giving it a thumbs up, and go see it for yourself. If I was like giving it a scale, it's nowhere near the top 10, top 20 of MCU films. It's obviously in the bottom half of all MCU films, but I was not, like John said, I was not like coming out of it like Craven, like offended,
And that's a lot of the problem is, would I go see it again? I'm not sure. I enjoyed but
I'd
the
watch
movies-
it again. I wouldn't go see it again.
Yeah.
I don't even know that I'd watch it again.
Okay,
again,
so-
but see, I'm with you on that in the sense that I think the 50% thing is very accurate, because I could totally see why a lot of other people saw it the way I did, but they just slightly go a little bit more into the
Yeah.
favorable and say, okay, I liked it. I go a little bit more slightly this way with the other half of people and go, I didn't really like it. It's right there in the middle. Again, really representative of kind of how the MCU has been as a whole. Now, I do want to point this out, though.
Yeah.
This movie and Daredevil are the last remnants of the Bob Chapek era.
Exactly.
Now, because remember, the cameras started, they were already well into pre-production. This movie started rolling cameras only a couple of months after Bob Chapek left, right? So the movie was already set. They were already well into pre-production, all that kind of stuff. And then it was later that Kevin Feige was able to go, okay, we need to redo this.
Exactly.
By the way, how bad was this movie before they did the reshoots?
Oh.
We'll never know.
Going off your point, that scares me a little bit, trepidation about Daredevil, because that was
that's the other
also
thing. But again, Kevin Feige was able to go
Yeah.
back to the drawing board with Daredevil, basically start from scratch.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. Now, do I think that the mediocrity to poorness of Captain America Brave New World is a bad omen for Marvel moving forward? No, because thankfully we have the next three things: Daredevil, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four. I am legitimately excited about all of these. Thunderbolts more than anything else. But I'm obviously excited about Daredevil. And I can't wait to see Fantastic Four. So, and all of these things, particularly Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four, are post Chapek influence era. So we'll see how that kind of goes.
By the way, it was great seeing those that you mentioned and the Superman trailer before on the big screen. I love
they
seeing
played
those
the
on
Superman trailer
that was
and the
first-
Fantastic Four trailer.
and
That's great.
Thunderbolts.
Oh yeah, they did the Thunderbolts
Yeah,
one too.
yeah. I you know what? There's nothing like seeing these trailers on the
on the
big
big
screen.
screen. I agree.
Oh, the
I will
sound, the
say-
Dolby, yeah.
I will say, in terms of direction, while I agree with you, John, though, and this won't be any spoilers, but I do feel like he directed a couple very good scenes where Sam Wilson interacts with a couple of important characters. They were very heartfelt. Like when he's near the end, when he's talking with the new Falcon, I felt like that was very heartfelt.
It's a
and very
nice
well-
scene. Yeah.
very well performed. And I won't say the other one where he's talking to another character, but I feel like that was very well done too. So I mean, there were definitely like these moments where they had these interactions that are like very high caliber, but it's just such an inconsistent film is my problem.
All right. So, I mean, I'm going to call this out. One of our channel members, Rick, just put into the live chat, call me a moron for feeling this way, but I'm not going to watch today's show. I can't agree with your increasing negativity about recent MCU projects. I'm sorry you're not enjoying them. And listen, I honestly got to say, if you only watch my show because you think you'll agree with me, frankly, I don't want you watching my show. We're not meant to be a show where we have to agree. Like some of my favorite stuff to watch are things that I disagree with half the time because I enjoy the points brought up and it helps me understand my thing. If you want to be somebody who says, I'm not going to watch your show because you're saying things I don't agree with, then go find somebody that only says things you agree with.
I mean, we don't
because
even.
I'm not going to be it. And quite frankly, I don't want somebody here. Even if you say to me, I watch you every day because I agree with everything you say, then I'm going to say, then don't watch my show. Because if you're only watching me because I'm saying things you agree with, that's not the kind of community I want to have. So you'll probably be happy watching something else.
Yeah, I mean,
you should
'cause
probably go away.
Even between the cast that we have here, we don't always agree. That's the whole point. It's a discourse. So yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, with that all being said, is this a road bump? Yeah, I think Captain America Brave New World is a road bump. But yeah, again, we said this last week, right? I said I've never gotten the sense from Marvel that they're particularly excited about this movie. And I said I can't quantify that. That's just gut feeling, all that kind of stuff. And I remember I brought that up and Rob said the exact same thing. Like, I've never gotten the sense from Marvel. Like, you get the sense they're very excited about Thunderbolts. You get the sense that they're very excited about Fantastic Four. You get the sense that they've got a growing excitement about Daredevil. But I've never gotten the sense from them that they've been particularly excited for Captain America Brave New World. And now that I've seen it, I kind of get why.
So in your opinion, you would say like people can skip this movie? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, there is absolutely nothing. See, there's two, when talking about an MCU movie, there's two different criteria for saying if you think you should skip it. Number one is the overall quality of the movie. And number two is, are you going to understand what's going on in the MCU if you don't watch this movie? Okay. On the sense of, can you skip this movie on the terms of the quality of it? Yes, you can skip this movie. If you're interested in the movie, by all means, go to see it.
Yeah, go see it.
Yeah, 100% by all means. But if you're going to come to me and ask me, do you think I could skip this movie based on its quality? Then my answer to you would be, yes, I feel this is one you can skip. On terms of, can you skip it, or are you going to be missing out on something important in the MCU? I would say you can definitely skip it. On that term, right? By the way, on that term, I think you can skip Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, I think if all you're asking me is, in terms of being able to keep up to date with what's going on in the MCU, can I skip Deadpool and Wolverine? 100%. I would say, yeah, you can.
Yeah.
But you absolutely shouldn't skip it based on the first criteria about it being a really good movie.
Yeah, but if you're a Marvel fan, I think you should watch it because, like this room, you're gonna either like it or not like it, and you know what's wrong with figuring that out yourself. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and again, do I regret seeing it? No, I don't regret seeing it.
Nah.
But did I feel coming out of the theater like that was time well spent? Again, you're going to hear from others who will feel differently, like Ray, and that's great. Me personally,
you had a good time.
I felt like I could have spent my time doing something better.
Me and Ryan were audibly going,
and there are moments, right?
And I think that's where we probably the action scenes did enough for me to make me part of the one
Can
side.
I tell you my favorite line?
But then,
here's my favorite line. And if you don't want to hear it, I promise this doesn't give away any story, okay? I promise the line I'm about to say doesn't give away any story, all right? If you don't want to know anything or even know a single line from the movie, mute your PC right now. But my favorite, and I won't give any context, my absolute favorite line in the movie that made me laugh right out loud, like said in only the way Anthony Mackie can say it.
I'm almost 98% sure I know
bet
what it
you
is.
know what I'm going to say. I'm just going to say this. He's walking down a street and says, I should have taken the serum. Bucky's full of shit.
Yep, that was it.
That line was so good and so well timed and so perfectly placed, and Anthony Mackie delivers the line so perfectly.
Yep. And the audience loved it in my theater.
I thought the line was great.
Yeah.
I thought the line was great. One of the highlights, honestly. And again, I don't want to come across as saying that this is a really bad movie. I don't think it's a really bad movie. Again, some really good redeeming things about it. Absolutely some highlights.
It was hard to tell with our audience, right? With our group, if they liked it or not. I can say most of them stayed to watch the after credit scene. Which sometimes
that's what happens in an MCU movie, right?
Sometimes I've walked out where I said I don't need to see this.
Yeah, I think most people stayed, but I didn't sense a lot of enthusiasm in our
there wasn't. That's why it's kind of hard to tell how the general audience that we watched it with felt about it. So
anyway, guys, I really think it's a coin toss. If you have been interested in this movie, definitely go to see it. It's the newest MCU movie, and there's, even as somebody who didn't like the movie overall, there's definitely things worth seeing in it and definitely some redeeming moments in it. If you were to ask me straight up, hey, John, I'm on the fence about it, do you think I can skip it? My personal recommendation would probably be, yeah, you can skip it if you're on the fence about it. But, you know, whatever. There are going to be people who like it and there are people who don't. But again, I think that in and of itself perfectly represents where the MCU is right now. It's in a state of mediocrity. And they're giving us some big wins. Shang-Chi, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Deadpool and Wolverine. But they're also pitching some Quantumanias and some Secret Invasions and some and now Captain America Brave New World. Anyway, what do you guys think? Did you see the film? If so, did you like it less than I did? Did you like it more than I did? What do you think? Even, you know who I'm really interested in hearing from? If you liked the movie, like you're a thumbs up on it. Sorry, opposite. If you did not like the movie, like you liked it less than I did, I would love to hear from you what you thought were some of the highlights of the movie, like things that stood out that even though you didn't like the movie, you thought this, and this were actually really quite good in it. And the opposite, if you were somebody who did like the movie, what were some of the weaknesses of the movie to you? I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on that. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we're now going to go on to the most important part of our show, which is taking your live comments and questions. But before we do, we're going to take another quick moment here and thank another sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at PrizePicks. Guys, we want to thank a sponsor of today's episode, PrizePicks. All right, sports fans, All-Star Weekend is almost here, and if you're not on PrizePicks, you're seriously missing out. It's the easiest and most fun way to turn your basketball knowledge into real money. With over 10 million users already playing, why not you? PrizePicks is a skill-based daily fantasy game. You just pick more or less on player projections. You think Steph Curry's hitting more than 5 threes or Giannis dropping more than 35 points? Make your picks in under 60 seconds, and if you hit, you could win up to 1,000 times your cash. Ann and I have been using PrizePicks on football all year, but now we're switching over to basketball. And we like Jason Tatum getting more than 29 points. And now that Luka Doncic is on the Lakers, I'm going to take over on 8 assists. And the best part is, even if you miss one pick, PrizePicks Flex Play lets you still cash out. And hey, don't forget about Taco Tuesday. Each week, PrizePicks discounts select player projections by up to 25%, giving you even more chances to score big. Download the app today and use the code CAMPEA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today and use that code CAMPEA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. And thank you to our friends at PrizePicks for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys. That down, let's get over to your questions here, shall we? Jonathan, what we got up first?
Grapes of Wrath of Khan says, hi, John and crew. Wondering if any of you have seen Darren Aronofsky's Postcard from Earth in Vegas. From the research I've done, I'm sort of on the fence about it. Is it worth the $95 or should I wait for something else?
I'll be honest with you. As somebody who goes to Vegas quite a lot, I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I'm the kind of Vegas guy. I'm the worst. I'm the type of Vegas guy who goes there, walks into the resort, and never leaves the resort. I go to the restaurants in the resort. I'll play poker in the resort. We'll go to see some shows in the resort. We'll go to a speakeasy in the resort with our friends. I very rarely leave the resort once I go there. Ann's more adventurous.
Okay.
It's in that dome.
It's in the Sphere.
Oh, it's in the Sphere.
It's an 18K resolution camera. It shows, it's about Earth.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that sounds interesting.
That sounds really cool, actually.
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't had any experience with it myself.
And it's probably super expensive, too.
$95.
AV Cali says the MCU ended in 2019. Bury it. No, he didn't say bury it.
Ooh.
But, everything after is just blah. Reboot the franchise. Give us a new Iron Man, Captain America, etc. I understand there's a plethora of characters. However, the audience knows of Iron Man, etc. Fantastic Four set in a different universe. We need a new saga.
Well, there's just too much more they can do and explore. We've got the X-Men coming in. There's a lot of characters they're just getting rolling on. I mean, one of my critiques of the MCU the last few years is they've tried You got to bring in new characters. But they just brought in so many new characters so
dump
fast without really establishing them once you've introduced them. That being said, I like the Fantastic Four takes place in another universe, but it's going to end in our universe. They're going to be brought over at some point there too. I just think there's too much more story can tell. And again, I am very excited about Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, Doomsday, Secret Wars. The MCU is now back fully under the control of Kevin Feige now that Bob Chapek is gone. You know, it always takes a few years to feel the impact of that once the leadership change happens. We've talked about that all the time. We are now getting to that stuff where we're now going to be getting into the projects that won't have been influenced by the Chapek era. I still listen, as much as I lament that the MCU has taken a step down, not down to the gutter, but just down from their previous high level of excellence, I am actually very bullish on their future. I actually think the future for the MCU looks very bright. They've got a lot of projects coming that I have a high level of excitement for. They've got some great directors lined up with a lot of these movies. Kevin Feige is fully back in complete control, which he hadn't been in a long time. I'm very realistic about the state of the MCU right now, but I'm very optimistic about where it's going in the future. And I think there are good days ahead. I really, really do. For it and DC, I'm very excited about both.
And as far as reboot concerned, I think it's when Kevin Feige steps down, I think they could do that reboot that he's asking for. I mean, that would be a better time. I don't think Kevin, like getting a new Iron Man.
Well, it depends. You can't start the X-Men era and then kill it after a year or two.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I mean, at some point, everything needs to reboot at some point.
Yeah, and I couldn't see Kevin Feige being there while that happens.
Yeah,
when
yeah,
that
I
happens.
agree. All right, what's next?
DZ Studio says, I know I'm late, but I finally got around to watching Avatar The Last Airbender live action. Holy Sky Bison, this show is amazing. It's the best adaptation I've seen in a long time. Can't wait for more. Sokka is still my favorite. Rest in peace, the cabbages.
Here's the thing about it. I wouldn't say it's one of the best things I've watched, but I thought it was significantly better than people were giving it credit for. I thought the show was pretty good. The live action Netflix series. I thought it was, again, I'm not saying it was awards caliber. I thought it was pretty good. I liked it.
Yeah, I had no idea what any of the Avatar Last Airbender, and that series actually got me into wanting to watch the animated series. So it did its job. I mean, it got me interested in the property.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what's next?
Anonymous with a $20 tip.
Thank you, Anonymous.
Hello, everyone. John, I'm curious how you felt about Emily Mortimer as Mrs. Brown. I love Sally Hawkins in the role.
This is how good I thought she felt. She blended in. It wasn't until about halfway through the movie that I realized it was a different actress.
What are we talking about?
The new Paddington movie.
Oh, okay.
Because they swapped out
Right,
the actress
right.
playing the mom. I thought she fit in flawlessly. It was Sally Hawkins who played the character first, right? She was great in the role. I'm not taking anything away from that, but I just felt that Emily just slid into the role so effortlessly and fit in with the cast so well that it barely felt like a bump in the road. It really did. All right, what's next?
Gabriel sends us $30 in a tip. It says, hey, John.
Thank you, Gabriel.
I've been watching your show since I was in middle school, and I just wanted to thank you for helping me realize my love for movies and for teaching me how to have an open mind and heart in movies and life in general.
Oh, well, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. It's always nice when somebody wants to write in and just say something encouraging. Yeah. I appreciate that very much. And, that's why I started these shows. It's just I wanted to create a place where just movie fans can get together and just talk about the things we love. And, be critical when we need to be critical, but be critical in the sense of because we hope for more and hope for better. So thank you for being a part of that, and I appreciate it very much. And thank you for supporting us on that level, man. That's very kind of you.
We've been doing the show since middle school, too.
Yeah. Sometimes it feels like we are in middle school. Gator says, how did Feige hire the director of Cloverfield Paradox for Cap 4 and expect good results? How does a studio make that decision? Cloverfield Paradox was terrible. It's like hiring the Morbius writers to write Madam Web. Well, I mean, They kind of felt like
Well,
they did.
no,
but-
it's that's not a comparable thing, because the thing with the writers for Morbius and Madam Web was that they had a long track record of horrible things.
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
Yep.
Like, everybody's got one thing on their resume that doesn't look good. Right?
Right.
Everybody's got one thing on their resume that doesn't look good. That when it comes to filmmakers and stuff like that. Everybody's had a bad day at the office. Don't compare somebody who had, there's this one movie that got made once that I didn't like. And by the way, I didn't like Cloverfield Paradox either, like, at all. I didn't like that movie. But that's not comparable to hiring writers who made this long list of some of the worst films you've ever seen. It's not comparable. Basically, they come in, a pitch and a vision is given. If you like the pitch and vision, you roll with it and give it a shot. The problem is, Rob and I were having this discussion off camera the other day, which is, when you've got a script in your hands, you honestly don't know if it's going to turn out to be a good movie or not. Because, Steven Spielberg once said, and it's true, you don't really know what movie you have when you read the script. And you also don't really know what movie you have as you're shooting. He said, you only really start to get an idea about the movie you have when you start editing together the dailies. That's the first time that you really start to get a sense if a movie is working out the way you wanted it to work out or not. I always go back to this one example of Clash of the Titans, the Sam Worthington remake with Liam Neeson in it. I remember over a year before that movie came out, somebody in the studio gave me a copy of the script. And I read the script, and I really liked the script. The script was really good. And then the movie came out. And you're like, I'm re-looking at the script and I'm looking at the movie. It's like, this is the same script. But once it's on screen, it's a different life of its own, right? So they decided to take a bit of a risk on a director who they liked their vision, and it didn't work out. But don't compare it to the Morbius and Madam Web situation. That's apples and oranges completely. All right, what's next?
We got Drain My Dragon says, saw Cap 4 last night. It was good, so don't let critics stop you from seeing it. Did feel like I was watching Phase 1 MCU, not having to worry much about connectivity. Anthony Harrison and Carl gave beautiful performances. However, this kind of goes along with what you were asking, John. The movie had uneven pacing, noticeable green screen, and sluggish hand-to-hand combat. Definitely see with your own opinion and low expectations. My friend thought the screen was fuzzy. Not sure.
That's not the movie's fault.
Yeah, that's because I saw it. It was crystal clear from the theater or the camera. Love you all, Campy Crew. That was from the theater.
Yeah. Sometimes there are things you can't blame on the movie. So that was probably a theater issue, because the movie, the theater I saw it in, certainly didn't look anything but crisp and clean and beautiful. I mean, I see what you're saying in the sense that it had a little bit more of a feel of Marvel Phase 1. I think that's true. And you know what? I don't even mind. Like, has the Marvel Cinematic Universe done a bad job lately of showing the connectiveness of the universe? Like, what's the story of this phase?
Right.
It's very blurry, right? But that doesn't mean an individual movie is good or bad. Deadpool and Wolverine is one of the best movies they've made in years, and it's barely connected to the overall thing, right? There's not a lot of connective tissue in Deadpool and Wolverine to driving the overall story of this phase, but that's fine because the movie itself is really good. Secret Invasion tied into a lot of things in the MCU, but it was a terrible show. Terrible show. So, is it a weakness that the MCU overall doesn't have a lot of connective tissue? Yes. But does the existence or presence of connective tissue within the movie itself make the movie good or bad? No, I don't think so. A good movie's a good movie. A bad movie's a bad movie. And I just unfortunately felt that Captain America Brave New World leaned a little bit more into the bad movie side for me. Not terrible, not terrible. If they had done a few things better, like just a few things better, I could easily be nudged from being an overall thumbs down to an overall thumbs up, barely, with just a couple of little changes. But again, overall for me, it's just the script was really bad. The dialogue was almost unbearable. The structure of the movie didn't have good flow, but some really good highlights that we've already talked about as well. And again, I really hope they bring Isaiah back. So find Isaiah a role somewhere within the MCU. I would love to see it. All right, what's next?
All right. Chris says, this movie was 6 out of 10, but please give me Harrison Ford's Red Hulk versus Ed Norton's Incredible Hulk. Ed Norton was mid at best as Bruce Banner. But,
I disagree.
Yeah, I disagree too, but his Hulk is still the superior from the rest. I liked Hulk in Avengers. That would make for an epic Hulk smashing battle.
Okay, so I'll say this. I heard some people say this just from the trailers before the movie came out. I will say this too. Harrison Ford's Red Hulk cannot fight Banner's Green Hulk. Cannot fight them. It's a very different level of Hulk. And the movie kind of makes that pretty clear too. So when you're seeing Sam fighting Red Hulk, don't think that this is what it would be like if Sam was fighting Banner's Hulk. They're two very different levels. So, and once you see the movie, that'll kind of make more sense. All right, what's next?
All right, Anonymous says it's General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross's team, but Ross seems to rampage as Red Hulk in Cap 4. Maybe the government calls them Avengers for publicity, but internally they're Thunderbolts. Reject team that can't use Ross's name since he's Red POTUS smashed.
I'm not quite sure what the point of that was. What
I don't
were
know.
they saying?
I just think that I think they're kind of overthinking it, but it's just that it's Thaddeus's team, but it's not Thaddeus's team. And yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone's saying that they're the Avengers because we see clearly in that trailer for Thunderbolts, we don't have the Avengers. They're not here. We need somebody.
Yeah. It's not, the Thunderbolts are not Thaddeus's team. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
Brandon Salas says, hey, crew, another theory I'll throw in the hat from Thunderbolts asterisk. What if by the end of the film, we're left with one surviving team member? Therefore, the title of the film changes to Thunderbolt. You wouldn't change the Thunderbolt. It would just be that character. But, I mean, I think we might lose someone in that team. I don't think we lose all of them.
Well, look, we're definitely losing Taskmaster.
Yeah.
Right? Because Taskmaster is in like one or two shots, and then in all the other shots, you see the whole team together,
and they're not
minus Taskmaster.
Yeah. Right.
Taskmaster is definitely getting
See ya.
her head ripped off at some point, right? But I do think there is a chance there's more than just Taskmaster gets knocked off. I think there's a chance I like that theory. Thunderbolts, plural, with the asterisk. But by the end, there's like just one Thunderbolt left. I don't think that's the case. I do think
That
maybe
would suck.
another character gets killed off, but I don't think this is a Rogue One situation where all the characters die at the end. So, but it's a good theory. I do like the theory. All right, what's next?
We got Anonymous who says, how about theaters listing start and end times, 7 to 9, for example? Let's say movie is 90 minutes, so 30 minutes of trailers. Not perfect, but helps estimate when trailer ads end without revealing exactly when the movie starts. Though the math might be too much for some, but why make people do the math when you could obviously do the math and then find the answer? Then just give us the answer.
Yeah. Just tell us when the movie starts.
Don't play games. Hey, let's play a math game.
Yeah.
The movie's 98 minutes and it ends at this time. You tell us how long the trailers are. No.
Just tell us when the movie starts. That's all you got to do. All you got to do. I have yet to hear one person give a valid reason why it's a bad idea to tell the consumer the truth. That's all. I'm not asking for anything crazy here. Just tell the consumer the truth. The consumer is paying for a movie. Tell them when the movie starts. That's all we're asking. No. You can't tell the consumers the truth. No, just tell us the truth. You know what? I'll even take that. even if you want to be a dick about it and make us do the
It's
math,
like you figure it out.
tell us what time the movie ends.
Yeah.
So we know when we can let the babysitter out or all that kind of stuff. And tell us the runtime of the movie. Then leave it up to us to figure out, well, then if the movie ends at 10:41 and we know that it's 105 minutes long, then we know the movie actually. But either way, just tell the consumer the truth. Tell us when the movie that we paid for starts. I don't think that's that unreasonable.
Right.
Anyway, all right, what's next?
We got 4 a.m. The George Lopez Show says a 1 of 2. I know James Gunn doesn't know about games, but WB and EA execs are far beyond what consumers want. They make live service games that cause studios to close. Microtransactions are asked. Gunn needs to get people that know what DC gamers want and get back to making single player games like the Arkham ones. The DCU doesn't need to be connected since the games have their own universe. Stop CEOs from making more slop. The games are just as important. Sorry for the rant. Love you.
The games aren't just as important, but they're important. And yeah, listen, I never did play that Suicide Squad game. I just remember like 3 years ago, they made such a big deal out of it at Comic-Con. And then by the time the game actually came out, which felt like years later, I never played it myself. All I ever heard about was how everybody hated it.
And Arkham Knights wasn't any good either.
Gotham
Knights.
Yeah, Gotham Knights. All I heard was that everybody hated that too. And so Chazris in live chat is saying Gunn has no control over this. Yes, he does. James Gunn is the CEO of DC. He is the boss. Now, he's not, obviously James Gunn doesn't have his hands in it himself personally, but he is in charge of anything that goes out with a DC label on it. James Gunn's in charge of that. He lets other people run it and lets other people do it, but he's in charge of those people.
Right.
So yes, James Gunn can step in. He's a little occupied right now, but he can step in and say, hey guys, new mandate, do better. So at some point he is going to have to address it. Him and Peter Safran, his co-CEO, are going to have to address this because it's clearly a problem with a lot of the gamers.
Yeah, they probably go over with what story they're trying to tell in a future video game with him.
I don't mind if there's in-canon games, but I don't like the idea that it has to be a mandate that all games coming out of DC are in canon.
Well, and here's the problem too. This is the thing. You can have the best story in the world in a game. If it's not a good game, it doesn't mean shit.
Yeah.
If it's just a bad game, doesn't matter how good your story is. It makes no difference how good your story is if it's just not a fun game to play. So yeah, maybe they have to do some changing of the leadership in certain places.
Get on that Superman game, Mr. Gunn, please.
All right, what's next?
Eddie Burton says, what a complete L for Marvel. You film a movie, decide it's not good enough, take 4 months and spend millions to reshoot the entire thing just for it to end up sucking anyway. Captain America 4 felt like JPEG era Marvel. Well, it was.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I mean, I myself, all I can say is I can't even imagine how bad the movie was before they did the reshoots.
Yeah.
Like, I totally have a lot of confidence that they probably improved the movie because personally, I don't think the movie sucked. Right? Like, that's Morbius, that's Madam Web, that's Craven. I'll even say Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Like, I don't think Captain America Brave New World sucked. I don't think it was good, but it didn't suck. And again, this was the last vestige on the movie screen of the Chapek era. But, you know, hopefully, like anything, man, you go in, you get on the field, you play the game, and if you lose, go back to the film room, watch the film, learn from your mistakes, try to do better, and move forward. And again, I'm really excited about Thunderbolts. I'm really excited about Fantastic Four. I think Daredevil's going to end up being really good. So I think there are very, very good, bright days ahead, but you know what? I hate to say it. This might have been one where the old axe of Zaslav might have come in handy.
I haven't brought that old axe in for a while.
Maybe Kevin Feige should have borrowed the old axe, gone to his buddy and said, hey, David, can I borrow the axe? And maybe once Kevin Feige realized this movie was not turned out to be the movie they wanted it to be, instead of doing the reshoots and spending more, maybe they should have just axed it.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think the movie sucks. It doesn't suck. There are things about it that sucked. There are things about it that were pretty good. But yeah, it's hard to say, man. One of the tricky things.
He's busy with the maxophone over there anyway. He's not using
the
his axe.
maxophone.
So if we're gonna bring back the axe, we're bringing back the maxophone.
All right, what's next?
Thursday says, if the Cat 4 movie was a toy, it would be a Tonka truck. Clunky, albeit enjoyable. My boys enjoyed it and finally got my grandson away from the PS5. Opened his eyes to the world of comic book movies. I'm now committed to taking him to Superman and Fantastic Four.
And hopefully it only gets better from there. That's the hope, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully it only gets better from there. And again, listen, just in recent memory, we've seen worse movies than Captain America Brave New World, right? Like, it's in the world of horrible, mediocre, great, Captain America lives very comfortably in that mediocre neighborhood. And I'll take that over the horrible any day.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Okay, we got a two-parter here from Anonymous. Brave New World felt like the original MCU vibes, but I had a difficult time getting invested because I just don't care about any of the characters like I did the OG Avengers cast. Some people are complaining about the leader's look, but I think it toes the line of being somewhat comic accurate without being another MODOK situation. So I'm okay with the design. Love the show. Keep up the good work.
I'm with you on the leader thing. I think the design they ended up with for the leader, Tim Blake Nelson, was a great way to capture the spirit of the look of leader in the comics without trying, because again, you can do things on a comic book page that you can't always do on a movie screen. And I think if they did a comic accurate leader, I think it would have looked utterly ridiculous. So as somebody who doesn't particularly like Captain America Brave New World, I had no issue with the look of the leader, to be honest with you. I thought they did good. Like, clearly it transformed him, clearly it deformed him, but without going overly ridiculous visually that I think a translation from the comic book page might have done. So I was actually okay with it. And I'm somebody who doesn't like the movie, but I thought it was okay. All right, what's next?
All right, we got Zach with a two-parter. How much do you think nostalgia clouds people's judgment on the quality of a movie? Personally, I think Prey is night and day better than the original Predator. I watched the original Predator for the first time recently and found the dialogue almost laughable. I understand it's a product of its time, but I believe the dialogue in Predator would not be received well today. That's because it's a product of its time. Maybe it's because I don't have nostalgia for that movie, but I think if the dialogue sounds bad now, it was bad then.
You listen, the reality is, like you said yourself, movies are a product of the time they're in. And they're also products of what they are. Like, that's why when I point out how bad the dialogue was in Captain America Brave New World, I didn't say it's bad for a Godfather movie. I said even for an MCU movie, even for that context and that sandbox, it was really bad dialogue.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that about the original Predator movie. Because if it was just about nostalgia, then people would say Predator 2 was better than Prey.
Right.
And we don't do that. Because it's not. Prey was really good. I still think the original Predator movie is better. It's also a very different kind of movie. But, I mean, listen, nostalgia always plays a part. But it's a double-edged sword. Sometimes nostalgia makes us think negatively about things. Sometimes it makes us think positively about things. It's one of many factors that go into kind of determining how we react to things. So is it a factor? Yes. It is a huge one. I don't think any bigger than most others.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
Go see The Beekeeper. Anonymous says, hey, John and crew, I'm not seeing Brave New World. I always want to see BMW. Brave New World until Monday, but after your viewing, do you think any of the harsh reviews are due to how underwhelming some of the previous MCU projects were? Or are they accurate? PS Blade or Gambit first? Hard to say.
If anything, I would say this. I think previous mediocrity gives you an opportunity to look good by comparison. Right? Like, I don't know. You know what the last comic book movie I saw before seeing Captain America Brave New World was? Craven. Which means you got a pretty good chance of making yourself look good. Because the last one, you know what a big band never wants? An opening band that's better than them. because then they look bad when they come out, right? So I would almost say that if anything, Captain America Brave New World, not coming off, I mean, maybe if your last comparison thing was Deadpool and Wolverine, it really doesn't compare well to Deadpool and Wolverine. But the last comic book movie I saw was Kraven. So it's like, maybe, who knows? Maybe if Kraven wasn't the last comic book movie I saw before this, maybe I would have liked Captain America Brave New World even less. I'm not sure. But I think mediocrity coming before you only gives you a better chance to stand out and look good if you take advantage of it. And I don't think Captain America Brave New World really took advantage of it. All right, what's next?
Your analogy took me back, John, because I saw that happen. I saw opening act, and then I left right after because
the opening act was just so good, there was no way the lead band could top it.
Yeah, you want to know who that was?
Who was it?
Radiohead.
Who was Radiohead opening for?
PJ Harvey. Because they had just released, she was hot on like the charts there. They had just come out with
and Radiohead
and so
was their opening,
and then immediately they just took off.
You know what the best surprise I ever had for an opening act was?
Huh?
Ann and I, like everybody knows, my all-time favorite band is U2. But we went to this big U2 concert and we didn't know, had no idea if there was an opening act or not. And out comes for the opening act
Kanye West.
No. No, Lenny Kravitz.
Oh wow.
Lenny Kravitz came out and rocked that stadium. That was a great pleasant
he's
surprise
stadium worthy himself.
He
now,
is.
so
I mean, that show was great.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, what's
we got
next?
Duck. Buenas tardes. My next poster movie was Princess Mononoke, and it was another great Studio Ghibli movie.
Yeah, that's Ann's favorite one actually.
It's in my top 3. I might put a pause on the poster and just binge the studio movies because they're effing me up in good and bad ways. He goes on to say, I mean, an animated movie where the main theme is to approach a situation with no bias and understand that no one is all good or all bad. No antagonists, just characters that are dealing with a conflict in different ways. I'm floored yet again. It's a masterpiece.
One of the great things about the Studio Ghibli movies is that, I mean, truly no two are alike. They'll tackle different themes and different things, and you can watch one and walk out with a great sense of joy. You can watch another and walk out with a great sense of woe. But yeah, that's definitely one of the better ones that they had for sure. All right, what's next?
All right, we got Matan who says they too many reshoots for Cap. Okay, so too many reshoots for Cap 4, even by reshoot addict Marvel standards, but couldn't bring John's character back from the Incredible Hulk as part of it. They did not tie you in. They did not tie up that loose end.
Who says I wasn't there?
Oh, that's true.
Dang.
Maybe if you look closely.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't there. As far as they did, I don't think they did too many reshoots. It sounds like they had to salvage something that was much worse.
Yeah.
At least that's what it seems like to me. So we'll see. All right, what's next?
We got Rebel Taker. The MCU fandom is slowly becoming as bad as Star Wars fandom. Many fans have become impatient, hypocritical, and just impossible to please. Even when something does seem to be liked by most, it only lasts 5 minutes before it becomes divisive for some reason.
Listen, there's a difference between calling a bad movie and being divisive. Captain America Brave New World's not a good movie. Maybe you found it to be a good movie, and good. If you did, good. That's great. I and many others did not. But there's a difference between calling a bad movie and then going, everything sucks now. Everything's garbage. No, man, listen, I don't think Captain America Brave New World is very good, but I'm very optimistic and very positive for Daredevil, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four. I'm looking forward to all of it. I think there are positive, good things ahead. I think all signs point to a kind of a return to greatness of the MCU. I'm seeing some of that epicness again. I'm very enthusiastic about it. But that doesn't mean you don't call a bad movie a bad movie. Only if you thought it was a bad movie. If you thought it was a good one, then you say it's a good one. But if you think it's a bad one, you say it's a bad one. That doesn't change your overall sense for the thing. Listen, I am a diehard bleed blue and white to the day I die Toronto Maple Leafs fanatic. Okay, I have been my whole life. But that doesn't mean when the Toronto Maple Leafs play a stinker of a game, I don't say the Toronto Maple Leafs played a stinker of a game. I'm still going to be there next week with my jersey on, and I'm still going to be cheering for them, and like all that kind of stuff, and believing for the best and thinking this is our year. But if they play a bad game, I'm going to say, and you should say, they played a bad game. Okay, the game's done. We said they played like crap. Now let's get ready for the next game and cheer them on, right? That's the difference. In the Star Wars fandom, that changed because Star Wars didn't fit in with what some people wanted their political messaging to be. People in Star Wars went from going, I hated this Star Wars, and now I hate all Star Wars, and I hate anybody who likes this Star Wars. Like, there's a difference between that and MCU fans going, the MCU hasn't been so great lately. They've put out more substandard product than we're used to seeing them put out. And this particular movie wasn't good. But we're still fans, and let's believe for the best for the next one and cheer the next one on. There's a big difference between the two, so I don't see the two being similar at all. All right, what's next?
Okay, Forbidden says, I believe Cap's team in Infinity War was based on the Avengers, a Secret Avengers, so different teams can operate but not name themselves like they're some kind of subgroup. Thunderbolts could be a new team by the end of and go more darker path in future movies. I think they're going in a more brighter path. I think it's about, overcoming their dark past.
Yeah, I think that's one way of looking at the team in Infinity War. I don't see it that way. I don't think the movie ever indicated in any way that they were kind of that at all. Again, look, the only point that I was trying to make before in talking about this is that I don't think the name Avengers is going to be thrown around.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to see the Young Avengers. Mm-hmm. I don't think we're going to see the West Coast Avengers.
Right.
I don't think we're going to see the Dark Avengers. I mean, you can have teams that are similar to those that you might have seen traditionally in their lineups, but be called something else entirely. I just think Marvel is going to protect the term Avengers for only their biggest iconic event movie releases, and I don't think they're going to dilute the name. So that was the only point I was trying to make, to be honest. All right, what's next?
Okay, we got Sholo who says, just finished watching Breaking Bad for the first time. What an experience. Instantly on my Mount Rushmore of TV shows. Sopranos, Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad. You're going to have to add one more for the Rushmore, but...
What's that?
Well, no, because he only listed 3, but there's
you got to have
Rushmore.
4. I am just a little bit in the minority that I don't think Breaking Bad is a top 5 best show of all time. I think I've got it in my top 10. I think I've got it in my top 10. So I'm with everybody that I love it. I'm not with everybody in how much I love it. Like, I think it's insanely good. Like, I love Breaking Bad, but I don't have it in my top 5 per se, but we're still all on the same side that I love it. It's really an incredible show. And you know, what's fun. One of my favorite things about it is that one of my favorite episodes was The Fly. That was one of my favorite episodes because of like just how introspective the whole thing was. Right. And it was such a change of gears for the show itself. It's like, to me, that really highlighted the brilliance of the show. And the funny thing is, to a lot of Breaking Bad fans, to a lot of them, that's their least favorite episode of the show. But I really like that episode myself. All right. And is that it? Or
we've got a couple more.
All right. Let's finish those off.
All right. Jojo Giraffe says, what's more likely, Nolan's The Odyssey making more at the box office than Oppenheimer, or the next James Bond movie making over 800? I don't think either are necessarily likely. What do you think? I would go with Odyssey.
I would go with Odyssey because not only is it a Christopher Nolan film, and not only is it one of the most stacked casts ever, but it's now also introducing genre, right? And I think that combination, this is going to be a movie that I would feel very comfortable saying it absolutely has the potential to be a $1 billion film. Now, as far as the next James Bond, we don't even know who James Bond is.
Yeah, I know.
We don't have a director.
Pick him already.
We don't know anything about the next James Bond, right? So it's hard to really say, but I would definitely say I think Odyssey has the potential. I wouldn't say it's a lock, but I'd say has the strong potential to be a $1 billion film. Mm-hmm. All right, what's next?
Okay, so we have 15 more, but You can let me know when you want me to.
Wait, we literally have 15 more?
Yeah, a bunch came in.
Okay, guys. So here's the thing. Today is Valentine's Day. I promised Ann that we would do. We're not going to do a dinner tonight. We're doing a lunch, and so it's the boss, guys. I can't keep the boss waiting. So we're going to do a couple more, and then we're going to have to save the rest of them until we come back on Monday. My apologies. Normally try to get through all the tip questions that come in. We normally do. But today I don't think we're going to be able to get through all of them. So my apologies, but the boss calleth. So let's answer as many as we can here over the next couple of minutes.
Mr. I went to see Cap 4 last night as a birthday gift for my birthday, which is on Sunday. I enjoyed it. Wasn't top tier, wasn't bottom tier. Out of 35 MCU movies, it's in the middle somewhere. Not the cluster F I thought it would be. Nor I have it in the bottom half, but not the bottom 3.
I might have it in the bottom 5, but that's a testament to just how good the MCU is overall.
Yeah.
Right? That even if you're like number 17, even if you're number 26, you're still pretty good.
Yeah. I probably watched you 4 times.
But I agree. The movie's not a clusterfuck. There are definitely worse. There are definitely worse films. It's not a horrible movie. I don't think it was a good movie. I think it was a minorly bad movie, but not horrible, not garbage, not irredeemable, not one of these things where it had nothing going for it. I just don't think it was particularly good. All right, what's next?
Anonymous, have you watched the trailer for Mr. Burton with Toby Jones about the early life of Richard Burton? It looks good. Out of interest, do you have a favorite Richard Burton movie? I would have liked to have been alive to see him in the theater. I believe he was brilliant. He was brilliant. Let
me bring up a full list of... First of all, I got to say, I've never seen this trailer. I'll be honest with you. I wasn't even aware that of the movie itself.
I believe, if I'm not wrong, he's in A Man for All Seasons. Beckett.
Well, man, Beckett
with Peter O'Toole, him and Peter O'Toole going off of each other.
Peter O'Toole is one of my all-time favorite actors.
Yeah,
Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? Oh boy, what were some? He was in the older version, the TV version of Ellis Island. Man, what a filmography. The Voyage. Let's see. Annie of a Thousand Days, where he played King Henry. God, I'd have to sit down and go through his whole filmography. But at any rate, no, I'm not familiar with this particular movie. I didn't see this trailer, but now I'm going to rush out and watch it for sure. Yeah. All right.
I go Beckett for me.
Let's take one more.
Okay, Disney Gifts by Bryce. I got to see Captain America last night. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. I wouldn't put it on the same level as Love and Thunder or Ant-Man 3. Mackie has Will Smith levels of charisma. The movie wasn't great, but I thought Cap did a great job.
Yeah, I don't think it's Thor: Love and Thunder. I don't think it's definitely not as bad as Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Again, I don't think it's as bad as Iron Man 2. Don't think it's as bad as Thor: Dark World. But
what about Black Widow? Would you put Black Widow over it?
That's the perfect comparison movie, actually. I would put Black Widow over it.
I think I would too, because the dialogue was wasn't clunky like that.
Yeah, the dialogue in Black Widow was definitely much better.
Yeah,
and the movie flowed better. Had a lot of negatives going for it too. I did not particularly really enjoy Black Widow, but I would put Black Widow a little above it.
So if Black Widow is your favorite, go see this movie.
Yes. So if Black Widow is your favorite MCU movie,
in which case you are a very interesting person.
I think you got a solid chance of really enjoying Captain America: Brave New World.
Yeah, that's the best way we could put it.
All right, guys. And that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in the questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Once again, guys, don't forget, this Sunday, I'll put up in on the channel what time it'll be. But this Sunday, Captain America, Brave New World, open spoiler discussion where we'll go all through the movie, the goods, the bads, all that kind of stuff. Hopefully you guys will be around and able to join me. So for myself, Ray Aura,
See you guys later.
Jonathan Voico.
See you guys next week.
My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.